The incredible journey of the potato today. The humble potato has risen to become one of the most important staple crops in the world. Potato dishes have become global icons. Think of French fries, deeply associated with America, Belgium, or France. Mashed potatoes are a must-have in Western meals. Boiled, steamed, roasted potatoes, soups, and stews are commonly eaten throughout Europe and Latin America. McDonald's alone consumes over 3 million tons of potatoes just for French fries. In Europe, potatoes are considered a national staple. In Asia, they are a key food source in many mountainous regions. In Africa, potato farming is expanding rapidly as a solution to hunger and poverty. Potatoes once helped Europe survive multiple famines centuries ago. The average American eats nearly 110 pounds, 50 kilograms of potatoes each year. Vodka, the national drink of Russia and Poland, is often distilled from potatoes. And believe it or not, the potato was the first crop ever grown in space. But can you believe this? Potatoes were once called the devil's apples, banned from cultivation, and only used to feed pigs. Yes, that's a true story. Let's rewind to 16th and 17th century Europe, a time when everything revolved around religion. Suddenly, this shriveled, strange-looking tuber appeared. Unlike grains like wheat, rice, or corn, it didn't grow from seeds. You could bury one tuber in the ground and grow a whole new plant, cut one into quarters, and you could grow 4. People were alarmed by its weird appearance. The Catholic Church declared, potatoes aren't mentioned in the Bible. God doesn't want us to eat them. After all, Europe had never seen potatoes before. The French royal family banned potato cultivation, allowing it only as pig feed. Yes, pig feed. Rumors even spread that potatoes caused leprosy, a disease that disfigures the skin and supposedly made people look like lumpy potatoes. Scientists also noted potatoes belonged to the nightshade family, which includes toxic plants like belladonna, that convinced many that potatoes were poisonous. Some people did try eating them but mistakenly ate sprouted or green potatoes and got sick, reinforcing the belief that potatoes were the devil's fruit. French philosopher Denis Diderot even wrote in the famous encyclopedia that potatoes were food for the poor and desperate. But how did the potato go from being hated and feared to becoming a staple on our dinner plates? It's a remarkable journey. Of years ago, in the Andes Mountains of South America, one of the longest and harshest mountain ranges on Earth, the potato was first discovered. A brilliant civilization tamed wild potatoes and made them a sacred staple. Archaeologists have found pottery shaped like potatoes dating back to 400 BC, and tubers buried alongside mummies thousands of years old. Rich in starch and nutrients, potatoes helped the Inca build a mighty empire with golden cities and grand temples. They used potatoes as currency, collected taxes in potatoes, stored them in warehouses, and distributed them to soldiers, artisans, even slaves. They even invented a freezing method, natural freeze-drying, where potatoes were left to dry out under the cold Andean sun, preserving them for years without much nutrient loss. Then came the 16th century and tragedy. Spanish conquistadors, led by Francisco Pizarro, invaded modern-day Peru, looting gold and silver and destroying the Inca Empire. Among the stolen treasures, they casually tossed some potatoes onto their ships. They thought they were truffles, ugly, muddy lumps. Who could have guessed that these overlooked tubers were more valuable than gold? When potatoes arrived in Europe, they weren't welcomed. In Spain, Italy, France, Germany, England, and Ireland, everyone viewed them with suspicion. They were planted only to feed pigs. Botanists identified them as nightshades, which included toxic plants. So potatoes were either banned or confined. 2 herb gardens, people called them devil's apples and feared they caused disease. Meanwhile, Europe was in crisis. From the 1500s to the 1800s, France suffered over 40 major famines. England endured 17 famines in less than 100 years. Crop failures left populations starving. Potatoes, however, were easy to grow, needed little care or fertile soil, and were highly nutritious. But how do you convince people to eat something they associate with pigs? Enter Frederick the Great of Prussia. In the mid-1700s, he issued laws forcing people to grow and eat potatoes. But the stubborn Prussian people refused. So, Frederick got clever. He planted potatoes in royal fields outside Berlin and ordered soldiers to guard them, but secretly instructed them to turn a blind eye to anyone trying to steal the crop. People assumed anything under heavy guard must be valuable. Soon, they snuck into the fields at night, stole potatoes, and grew them at home. Potatoes began appearing in black markets. Before long, they spread across Prussia and helped feed the population through famine. Potatoes made Prussian soldiers stronger, helping them defeat France and Austria in the Seven Years' War. During this war, a Frenchman named Antoine-Augustin Parmentier discovered the potato's potential. A pharmacist and military doctor, he was captured by the Prussians and fed potatoes in prison. He realized they were safe, delicious, and nutritious. After returning to France, he made it his mission to redeem the potato's image. He followed Frederick's trick, planted potatoes, hired guards to watch them, and encouraged people to steal them. But he went further, convincing scientists, aristocrats, even the royal family. He gave King Louis XVI and Queen Marie Antoinette purple potato flowers, which they proudly wore. He secured land at Versailles to grow potatoes, wrote and published a cultivation guide, and released a potato cookbook with 20 recipes, including French fries. Thanks to Parmentier, potatoes saved France from starvation. Before that, France faced near constant famine. On average, a nationwide famine struck every 7 years. But potatoes were easy to store, calorie-dense, and helped solve food insecurity. By the time of Napoleon, potatoes were widely promoted and grown. Even France's enemies adopted the crop. By the end of the Napoleonic Wars in the early 1800s, potatoes had become Europe's main food staple. Potatoes didn't just feed the hungry, they changed history. A Harvard study estimates that potatoes contributed to 23 to 24% of population growth and 27 to 34% of urbanization in Europe from the 18th to early 20th century. In Iceland, 40% of the population relied solely on potatoes, and the population doubled between the late 1700s and mid-1800s. Potatoes fueled labor forces, powered industrialization, and supported massive armies. Here are some more amazing potato facts. Potatoes and the Cold War. During the Cold War, the USSR bragged about massive potato harvests to show off the success of communism. Meanwhile, the US promoted French fries as a symbol of Western culture. The result? Potatoes spread globally, and French fries became a worldwide fast food staple. Potatoes and Mars. NASA has tested growing potatoes in Mars-like conditions in Peru. Despite harsh soil and climate, potatoes thrived, proving they could feed future space colonies. Potatoes and migration. While potatoes once saved Ireland, they also triggered disaster. In the mid-1800s, potato blight devastated crops, causing the Great Famine. Over 1 million people died, and millions more fled to the US and Canada. This showed the danger of relying too heavily on a single crop. Diversity of potatoes. The world has over 4,000 potato varieties in vibrant shades of purple, red, yellow, and green. These were bred to survive the diverse Andean environments. Today, potatoes are the world's 4th largest food crop after rice, wheat, and corn. They're used not only for food, but also for making vodka, starch, and even eco-friendly Truly, a super tuber. World records. According to Guinness World Records, the heaviest potato ever grown weighed 23.99 pounds, 10.86 kilograms, and was grown in the UK in 2021. The longest French fry ever recorded was 33.8 inches, 86 centimeters, made in Belgium. In 2019, today, Europe produces around 52 million tons of potatoes annually, with France contributing about 8 million. Potatoes are a staple crop in over 100 countries, feeding billions. They're more than just food, they're a symbol of resilience, adaptability, and world-changing potential. From being called the devil's apple and banned for human consumption, to saving Europe from famine, driving industrial revolutions, and feeding empires, even aiming to conquer Mars. The potato story shows that sometimes the most underestimated things can hold unimaginable power. If you've ever loved potatoes, eaten them, or simply admire them now, hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching this story. If you found it interesting, please like and share. And now, farewell for now.